you ever noticed that after a while, stress starts to feel normal? Last week, during National Business Etiquette Week, we talked about the idea that boundaries are professional etiquette. Not answering emails at night, not treating every request as urgent, not confusing over functioning with leadership. That brings me to this week's thought. You are not an emergency. I know that sounds strange, especially if you're a high achiever, because many competent, caring, responsible people spend so much time responding to crises that eventually their nervous systems forget the difference between urgency and importance. After a while, flashing lights and sirens just become normal. You're answering email while standing in line, eating lunch at your desk, checking your phone in the middle of a conversation, and thinking about tomorrow before you finished today. Adrenaline starts to feel productive. Cortisol becomes a supplement. But from a neuroscience perspective, chronic stress changes more than mood. It affects attention, memory, executive functioning, sleep, emotional regulation, immunity, and even our ability to accurately assess threat. In other words, stressed brains often experience everything as urgent, not because you've lost your edge, because you're overloaded. And that's one reason boundaries feel so uncomfortable for high achievers. Because if you've built your identity around being responsible, available, and dependable, slowing down can feel irresponsible. Not answering immediately can feel selfish. Delegating can feel risky. But not every problem belongs to you. Not every request deserves immediate access to your peace. And perhaps most importantly, you are not an emergency either. Human beings were designed for seasons of stress, not lives of emergency. And maybe one of the kindest things we can do is stop treating ourselves like a 5-alarm fire. I'm Dr. Joe, and I help high-performing executives and professionals overcome their reliance on alcohol to cope with work stress so they can show up as their sharpest and most present selves. This is Sober in the C-Suite.